I still don't know why my foot lifted off the throttle before my brain understood why. All I know is that if I hadn't slowed down on I-80 that night, I wouldn't be here telling this story. I've been driving trucks across this country for over 2 decades. Name's Tom Keller, and the road has been my office longer than any building ever was. I've crossed Wyoming in whiteouts, Nevada in 100-degree heat, and Nebraska's so quiet it feels like the world shut down early. I've learned to trust gauges, mirrors, and instinct in that order, because instinct is usually the last thing you realize you needed. That night, I was running eastbound on I-80 through southern Wyoming, somewhere between Rawlins and Laramie. If you've ever driven that stretch at night, you know it's a special kind of empty. No trees tall enough to block the wind, no lights except the ones you bring with you, and a sky so wide it makes you feel small, even sitting 10 feet off the ground, in 80,000 pounds of steel. It was late winter, cold enough that the air felt sharp when it came through the vents, dry and clean, smelling faintly of snow and diesel. My headlights carved a narrow tunnel through the dark, and the rest of the world didn't exist beyond that cone of light. The trailer humped behind me, steady and reassuring, and the engine had that smooth tone that tells you everything's working like it should. I had just left a Flying J outside of Rawlins. Coffee in a paper cup, fuel topped off, logbook clean. I chatted briefly with another driver about the wind advisory posted earlier, but it had died down by then. The CB was quiet again, just a low hiss on Channel 19 like the road itself breathing. That stretch of I-80 is notorious for accidents, high winds, sudden ice, drivers pushing too hard to make time. I'd seen rolled trailers out there more times than I could count, and every time I passed those long fences meant to stop drifting snow. I remember how fast things can go wrong. About 40 minutes out of Rawlins, the road straightened into one of those long, endless sections where the lines seemed to stretch forever. No exits, no rest areas, just mile markers ticking by, like seconds on a clock. That's when it happened. There was no sound, no warning, no voice in my head. My foot just eased off the accelerator. Not slammed, not panic. Just a gentle, deliberate lift. Like my body made the decision without asking permission. The engine note dropped slightly, and my speed bled off from 70 down to 62. I remember frowning, confused with myself. I wasn't tired, I wasn't distracted. I wasn't approaching traffic or weather. The road ahead looked exactly the same as it had for the last 50 miles. I almost pushed the pedal back down. Almost. Something made me hesitate. A second later, my headlights called movement ahead. At first, my brain refused to process what I was seeing. It looked like a shadow detached from anything solid, standing upright where nothing should be. As I got closer, the shape sharpened into something unmistakably human. A man, standing in the middle of I-80. No vehicle, no hazard lights, no debris. Just a man, upright, motionless, dead center in my lane. Every survival instinct I had slammed into gear at once. My heart jumped into my throat as my foot went from hovering to breaking hard, hands tightening on the wheel as the trailer tugged behind me. The ABS chattered under my boots, the truck slow and fast but controlled. I swerved slightly, just enough to keep from hitting him if he moved. He didn't. As I rolled past at maybe 30 miles an hour, my headlights washed over him completely. And that's when I knew something was deeply, impossibly wrong. He wasn't dressed for the road. No jacket, no reflective vest, no winter gear at all. He wore jeans and a thin button-up shirt, the kind you'd see in an old family photo from the early 2000s. His hair was neatly combed, his shoes clean, too clean, like he hadn't walked a mile of that frozen asphalt. He wasn't looking at my truck, he was looking past it. His face wasn't panicked or confused, it was calm, almost empty, like he was waiting for something that had already happened. The moment my trailer cleared him, I checked the mirror. He was gone, not walking away, not falling over, gone. The road behind me was completely empty, lit only by my taillights and the distant stars above the plains. No figure, no movement, no explanation. I pulled onto the shoulder less than a quarter mile later, hazard lights flashing, breath coming faster than it should have been. My hands were shaking when I set the brake. I sat there for a full minute, staring down the road ahead, then behind me, half expecting him to reappear. Nothing. I grabbed the CB mic, voice low and tight. Any drivers eastbound near mile marker 214? You see a guy in the road? Static answered me. After another minute, I eased back onto the highway, speed low, eyes scanning every inch of asphalt. I hadn't gone more than 2 miles when I saw the wreck. A sedan wrapped around the guardrail on the right side, front end crushed like paper. Steam hissed into the cold air and glass glittered across both lanes. Fresh skid marks cut long black lines through the snow, dusting the pavement. If I hadn't slowed down earlier, I would have come around that gentle rise at full speed. I would have hit that debris field before I ever saw it. State troopers arrived quickly. One of them took my statement while another checked the car. The driver was gone, transported by ambulance minutes before I arrived. The trooper asked me why I was driving slower than normal for that stretch. I didn't know how to answer him. I said, "Didn't feel right." He nodded, like he understood more than he let on. Back in my cab later, parked at a rest area outside Laramie, I replayed the dash cam footage, the road, the slowdown, the headlights. The wreck showed up clear as day. The man didn't. There was nothing in the lane, no shadow, no figure, just empty asphalt, where I swear someone had been standing. The next morning, curiosity got the better of me. I looked up accidents in that area. Turns out, in 2004, a man had been killed on that exact stretch of I-80. His car broke down at night. He got out to flag traffic. Another driver never saw him in time. Same mile marker, same lane. I don't tell this story to scare people. I tell it because the road has a memory. Sometimes it gives you warnings you can't explain. Sometimes it reaches back and taps you on the shoulder, just long enough to save your life. I don't know who that man was. I don't know why I saw him. I don't know why my foot lifted when it did. All I know is this. Every time I drive that stretch of I-80 now, I ease off the throttle without thinking. And every time I whisper a quiet thank you into the dark. Because that night, slowing down for no reason made all the difference.